The Commanders have not had extension negotiations with Chase Young or Montez Sweat. Sources told Ben Standig. One front office exec from another team said following Sunday's game that he believes Washington, quote, will sell at the deadline, which is October 31st, which is also Halloween, for those of you that don't know that.
Got a week.
I think that's smart. Especially if they lose here, they'll be 3-5. You're unlikely to sign both of those guys. Move at least one of them. Get something for them.
Well,
does it depend on this week's result then?
Because I think so.
If they win,
like if they shock us and beat the Eagles,
world and beat the Eagles,
right.
I would keep them because you want to have a shot at the playoffs.
But if you lose and you're 3-5, well, I mean, you still have a shot at a playoff spot. But look, Ron talked yesterday to the media and said we're not interested in selling pieces off.
But I mean,
I actually don't think they're going to.
I don't think they are
either. Ron is interested in selling off, but Josh Harris might be.
Correct.
This could be Josh Harris and the ownership
His
saying,
first move.
Look, if we go to 3-5 and we're basically out of playoff competition, like we're going to sell off parts. That's kind of what he does. That's his approach. Now, I don't think Ron would do it at all because Ron needs to survive and win games. So why would he deal off current assets?
Hold on. You actually think that Harris will get involved to that extent?
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
They're not his guys, but I thought the model for great ownership is they don't get involved. They let their GMs do what they got to do.
I tend to agree with that, but why would Ron move current pieces for future draft picks when he knows he's not going to be here?
That's why I say I don't think they're going to move. I'm willing to bet they don't sell. They don't trade Chase or Montez.
Ron doesn't care what happens to this team in 2 or 3 years.
Because this was reported a couple days ago by Diana Rossini on The Athletic.
Right.
Where Rossini said that they were gauging interest. So the problem is in the NFL, there's not a slew of trades. It's not like the NBA trade deadline and some of the other, Major League Baseball.
Well, I know Kime also
deadline.
reported, though, that people, to kind of counter Diana's report, that people have been calling the Commanders about Chase for months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even anything new.
Yeah, but maybe
gauging interest.
Maybe they're willing to listen now if the season goes sideways. If they get blown out by Philly and you're dead in the water.
Well, especially since he's having a pretty good year statistically, numbers-wise. I mean, he's on pace for, I'll call it, 11, 12 sacks, something like that, maybe more.
Here's what we don't know.
So maybe a team is willing to reach out and give you more than what you thought you could get.
Here's what we don't know. Have they, behind the scenes, offered either of those guys a contract?
Well, that's what he said in the report, no.
And
the report said
according
no.
to Ben
have
Standing,
either of those guys kind of told the organization, I'm not coming back? Chase Young may have said to the team, oh, you're not going to give me an extension last year? F you, I'll play out this contract, and then I'm bouncing.
I don't think these guys ever shut the doors for teams.
I don't think they would do that.
Yeah, I think they want to keep all the avenues open to try to get the
he
best
might have said
deal.
that to his agent,
but
I don't think you say that to the team.
I wouldn't be stunned at all if one or both of those pieces are moved. If ownership gets involved, if it's Ron and company, they're not going to want to move
my
pieces
point.
because Ron's got to win. He's got to go 8-2 or 7-3 in the next 10 games to save his skin.
Ron is playing out the string. As long as they let him coach, that's what he's doing. But raise your hand if you believe Ron Rivera is the head coach of the team next season.
I mean,
no hands up.
No. Nobody
impossible.
believes that.
Does anybody in town think that? I don't think anybody in town thinks that.
He still is under contract.
It's fine. That's happened a billion times.
I'm just saying. He's going to get paid $7 million to walk.
That's fine.
His staff.
Josh Harris just fined $7 million.
That would be truly stunning if he was back here next year.
$20 million or whatever they're paying their staff.
It's fine. Find $20 million in your couch cushions.
At what point do you pull the plug on a coach who's winning 43% of his games?
I'd consider it this week. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd consider it this week.
I keep saying it over and over, and I would have done it in the offseason.
Somebody actually
the
had
first
a good
move
point.
Josh Harris should have been like, I'm taking over a team. The head coach has been here for 3 seasons. This is his record. That's unacceptable.
It was just the timing of it was bad. Somebody pointed out, actually, the guy that used to write for the Washington Post 20 years ago. Remember Tom Friend?
Sure.
Tom Friend tweeted me, and I actually thought it wasn't the worst idea. So my whole thing has been with Bieniemy is that, I supported the hire. I'm all in. I want the guy to succeed. But so far I've been a little underwhelmed as him as an OC. Just have. I like his intensity. I like it. He's one guy on the sideline that shows emotion. I love that. I like his attention to detail that we were talking about. But I've been underwhelmed as the OC.
Well,
but
and the results speak for themselves. They are ranked very similar to how they were ranked with Scott Turner as the offensive coordinator.
Now, it's not a full season. It's only 7. And people say, well, how do you expect him to do? He's got a 5th-round quarterback or whatever. Well, they had an undrafted guy, Taylor Heineke, and what people consider a washed-up Carson Wentz last year. So,
Correct. It's not like Scott Turner
not like it's markedly
had
different.
a bunch of studs.
Yeah. So, but nevertheless, everyone, is under this impression that if Ron gets fired, Bieniemy will get the gig. And I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done anything so far to deserve it, in my opinion. But Friend brought up, he said, but he's underwhelmed as an OC. I think we all agree. But as a leader of men, he might be the guy. He might be a head coach as a leader. Guys clearly respect him.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. You've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Guys clearly respect him. So maybe it would be not a bad move, and then maybe you give somebody else the play calling responsibility. Or he could do it to play out the string this year. But maybe he is head coach material because of his personality and, you know what I mean, all the other things.
But would you feel comfortable as a fan? Would you feel comfortable with that?
Maybe.
From anybody on the staff to take over?
Maybe, because it did sell me on, I do believe the guys like him a lot. I do believe that.
Well, I think they like Ron, too.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's a good head coach.
Yeah.
True. I just like his demeanor. I think that Bieniemy might have that head coaching demeanor that I'm looking for.
So you're okay with that as an interim?
That I'm looking for.
Not a long-term commit to
Well, let's
Bieniemy.
see,
You're
if
just
you
saying
win-
to ride out the string.
Yeah, because I'm like, he doesn't deserve it as an OC,
Right.
but it may be as a leader of men, he might.
I'm confused. Yesterday you were just screaming nobody wanted this guy? No interviews?
Correct. That's I'm trying to explain the nuance of it. The nuance is
He was swayed by Tom Friend.
Tom Friend tweeted me and said, agreed as an OC, he's been underwhelming. Right? And I thought that's why people want to do it, because they think he's some sort of offensive genius. I'm convinced he's not an offensive genius. I've already learned that through 7 games. But I'm not convinced that he's not a great leader of men.
I think
He
it's a
might be great
popular
leader of
play.
men.
It's a popular play. I'm going to predict this. I'm going to put this up as the Junkies poll of the day, brought to you by Van Meter Homes. Would you be interested in Eric Bieniemy taking over as the interim head coach this season? I bet you 75% say yes.
I know, because
Easy.
I know.
They love
Well,
Bieniemy.
that's because they want anybody other than Ron. too.
Right.
Right. And they also, I don't know, I think maybe they think he's maybe some sort of like offensive genius or something. I'm already convinced he's
No.
not.
The genius was Kelsey catching balls from Mahomes. That is the genius.
Yeah.
You can talk about Bieniemy and Nagy and all the schemes you want, even Andy Reid. That is the genius. It's hard to look as
Well,
smart
but
when
Andy
it's
Reid
Howell
won
throwing the ball to Logan Thomas.
It's
and Jahan Dotson. It's
But
not
Andy
the same
Reid
thing.
won with other guys at different places. I don't
Yeah,
think
not
you-
as much as he's won with Mahomes.
But he won a lot of games in Philadelphia with Donovan McNabb. Then he came here and
Yeah.
he looked like trash. He
Right.
won a bunch of games with Alex Smith
Well, he had
as
McNabb
his
in
quarterback.
prime.
I understand
which is
that.
the difference.
But I
know,
give
don't
Andy
think
Reid
you
a lot
can
more
I don't think
credit.
you can knock Reid's credentials.
Reid was a consistent winner.
Yeah, I think
but-
Reid's credentials are intact.
But when has he won the most?
Well,
He
With
needed
Patrick
he's going to the Hall of
Mahomes.
Fame.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're almost diminishing the role of head coach. Like OC might have too much on its plates, too many responsibilities. There's a head coach is basically a rah-rah motivational locker room speech guy.
Maybe. Yeah. That's what a lot of them are. Right? Listen, there's different ways. If you're like a genius play caller like a Kyle Shanahan and you can manage both, fine. I've already been underwhelmed by Bieniemy running the offense. It doesn't mean it won't turn around, but so far, can't we all agree? Like, it's just been underwhelming.
Yeah, but that might be why we want less on his plate than more on his plate by becoming the head coach.
Give the play calling responsibilities to Kavika, the quarterback.
He's
coach.
not going to. You think he's going to relinquish play calling?
You got-
I actually
He
don't.
finally got the play calling.
I actually don't. I'm just diminishing it a little bit. I'm just saying he has the demeanor I'm looking for.
Well,
I'm looking for that kind of
I think
demeanor.
Eric Bieniemy. Hopefully, he rented his house here because I don't think he's going to be here long term either.
I don't know if we were going to bring this
either.
up.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if we were going to bring
just
this
trying
up
to make
later in
an
the
argument,
show.
Cakes.
Did you see the string of tweets? Speaking of head coaches and demeanors, did you see the string of tweets from Mike McDaniel?
I did
No.
not.
Is he just
I
trolling
beg you
people?
to look it up. He was so bitter about the refereeing in the game against the Eagles.
Well, he's going to get fined.
What did he say?
Oh, my goodness. He had a slew of tweets with,
Is it not McDaniel?
I think JP got duped.
Is it?
It was like an
no.
account with like.
It's a parody account?
Yeah.
You fall for an Onion article,
all right.
JP?
No
Yes,
wonder.
multiple
He's not gonna
times.
do that. He's not going to do that. You got head
I
coach
I wouldn't
that
think he
tweet
would
like
do
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say something in the presser, but to send out multiple tweets, that sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah, and then you're definitely going to get fined, and just coaches just don't do that. They don't have time for that.
Well, it was a game where they had 0 flags, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well,
Now, they were flagged twice. It was offsetting penalties. I was stunned by that. So, obviously, I was duped.
First line in the bio, parody.
I never
Mick
click on that.
McDaniel. with
Yeah,
the-
you got to look at the if something.
I saw a check mark.
No,
I guess that's
no,
right. Anybody can buy a check mark. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
anybody can buy a check mark for like $8 a month.
right.
It's funny.
Can't get duped.
Oh, you can.
No,
And I was.
It happens. These things happen.
I think the
at
NFL
times.
head coaching responsibilities it's way bigger than just being a rah-rah guy. I think you're the ultimate decision maker.
For sure.
So I wouldn't diminish
sure.
what those guys. I mean, is John Harbaugh just a rah-rah guy?
No. I'm not saying he's just a, but I'm just saying that part of his personality I like. Obviously, there's more nuance to the job. I'm just looking for somebody with that kind of demeanor. And I don't know. Guys seem to respond to him. I know that allegedly the guys really all like Ron and everything, his players coach. But it's obviously not working with Ron.
I know that we threw out Bill Belichick's name. I wouldn't want Belichick. Let me throw a name out there too and see if you're interested. Because I think this guy's going to be in the NFL next year.
Who, Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, sure.
I bet Josh Harris will be interested in a big name like that.
Can he bring the guy he sends everywhere to scout the opponents?
Yeah,
Yeah, the cheater, a big surprise. A college coach is cheating, trying to gain an edge.